We are live with the NBA Rundown on the Nuke the House channel. I'm joined today by Tyler Hicks, and since it's Friday, I always see my guy JC Zargo on Friday, but we've decided we're going to wait till next Friday to do our in-depth, super sharp NFL breakdown. Today we're talking the NBA, but JC, I've talked to Tyler all week. How are you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing all right. It's a bit of a depressing time as there's no football this week. Hockey just hit their All-Star break, so nothing to bet on there. But it does give me this opportunity to kind of start paying attention to basketball, both NBA and college. So, just finding time in my life for different activities. It's a hard adjustment, but we do it every year.
Yeah, I love the way the NFL season goes. It's like perfect.
What do you mean by that?
The NBA season's like a hot girl that comes over and you have a great night and she just won't leave the next day. And as much as you like her, dude, by like 4 p.m. the next day, you're like, okay, can you just get out of here? Like, as much as like, I can't wait to see you again. The NFL season's like, she just gets up and bounces. And you're like, I can't wait till she comes back.
Yeah.
You know, you're like trying not to text her like 15 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a really good point. I mean, I guess that's the value of only having games like really only once a week.
Yeah.
Just small taste throughout the week. You know, it's almost like maybe she shoots you a text Monday night and Thursday night. Being like,
you're
can't
excited.
wait for Sunday. And you're like, not me either.
Scarcity exists. Clyde, I'll have you know, I was good looking when you were like 3 years old. Tyler, as awesome as these analogies have been, how are you doing today? You ready to talk some NBA?
I think you managed to take a shot at yourself in that joke there, Spread, because you're basically calling yourself old.
I mean, I am.
Yeah, but I mean, we're the only guys allowed to make jokes about that. You're not allowed to make jokes about yourself.
Yeah, it's just depressing when you do it.
I'm going to throw one more in there for how old you are. Last night I was bored. I didn't feel like watching anything serious, so I threw on old episodes of Cheers. And Ted Danson had this green Nike shirt on. And it's like so 80s. And I was just sitting there and I was like, that looks so badass. I wish I had that so bad.
I recently started watching Cheers. Great show.
Dude, it's fun, huh? It's kind of cool to just have on it. Because like last night I knew I was going to be all over the internet reading about that Vince McMahon stuff. So I was like, if I put a serious show on, like I won't pay attention enough. And there was only 4 NBA games to watch. And to be honest, we didn't really take much away from them. I mean, yeah, okay, the Lakers win. Does that mean anything to you, Tyler?
No, I mean, baby Lakers played a great game. Boston just kind of just didn't care. It's cool for the win and the young guys, but I don't think we could take anything from it. Like, you don't go upgrade the Lakers.
Yeah.
You don't downgrade
Utah,
Boston.
I know we lost that Utah bet. I really think I didn't take it. That was first game back from a road trip, huh?
I believe so, yeah.
We didn't have that home court advantage, and we went to that one too quickly, and it just felt too easy. And
Matt put up 51 on us, so.
Yeah. So great game for him, and it's a good sign for Philly and me with that 13-1 ticket that you so wisely did not join me on. Because I'll bet you it's 20 or 25-1 now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think there's another team in the East that I'd rather have a ticket on right now. And they're a lot farther overpriced down.
All right, tell me who it is.
Our favorite bet since January 1st, read the New York Knicks. The easiest money in sports right now. You just bet the Knicks.
Stephen A. thinks that's where LeBron should go.
Oh, my gosh.
How do you guys feel about the rumor he might get traded?
I love it.
I would so hope it happens, but I don't believe it's true.
I think it's one of those ones, like, if you got that news that happened, like they traded him, I think it'd be like one of those like shock factor trades. Like, oh, like didn't, like even with the rumors, it's like we didn't fully see that one coming.
I woke up this morning and checked Twitter right away, just hoping that that's all you guys were talking about. And I was
like the KD trade, like when he was like, I demand a trade out of Brooklyn. Like we were all like, oh, there's no way he goes to Phoenix last year before this end of the season. We're like, but he probably gets there in the offseason. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a shock that he got there at the deadline, but we all knew he was going to end up there eventually. If Braun were to get moved anywhere, I think it would just be pretty like a wow factor.
I think that's the biggest thing is like where is he going to go? My friend though he's a Cleveland fan, so I'm like, yo, is LeBron heading back to Cleveland? And he's like, oh, he's not. They said he's not getting traded, and then I went and looked it up. It was Rich Paul that said LeBron's not getting traded, as if he had any authority there. They said it happened.
Richie Smalls says that as well.
Yeah, who what authority do they have to say?
I mean, Rich Paul pretty much runs the league.
But if Pelinka
half
wants
the
him
trades
gone,
he orchestrates himself.
but if
How bad
Pelinka
do they rob a team for this 39-year-old guy? Because you still have to pay pretty top.
But the thing is, it's almost like that
wants him?
Toronto deal. If you get one title out of it, it doesn't matter.
No,
Especially if you're a team.
I agree, but like for instance, if OKC was like, all right, this is where we unload and go get our guy, even though he's old, like this is our one shot. What does OKC got to give up to get him? I'd say
First rounders and Jalen Williams.
Yeah, I'd say 3 first and 2 of their young guys, not any of the big 3 of Chet, Jalen, or SGA.
The biggest thing too is, ironically, Cleveland and New York are like the only teams that make sense. Like, who needs
Miami?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because, like, who needs a piece? But the other thing is, I don't know Miami's willing to sacrifice that, right? Like, you look at the teams that are all atop the conferences, like, they don't.
I don't know. They might. Like, isn't Jimmy Butler, like, 35 years old?
Yeah.
Like, they might just think, like, this is our last time, then we'll bottom out and, get rid of both of them at the same time.
That's fair.
Didn't Pat Riley and LeBron, like, go out on bad terms when he left?
Yeah, but I mean...
I don't know how well that'd
how
go
many
over.
chips did he get on? Like that?
Both of them will do anything to win, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Tyler, as far as your New York Knicks take,
that's a very sneaky spot right there. From Richie Smalls, send him Golden State.
Yeah, like Kuminga, Moody, and a couple picks.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
already
be roasted.
and we've
I'll
seen
be so
him.
pissed. Kuminga's gonna be so good.
He loves Steph, like Richie Smalls said. He's talked about wanting to play with Steph. Like, he gets up.
They love Draymond too. They love each other. That's like bordering on.
What does that do to Steph's legacy?
Nothing.
If both LeBron and KD have now come to Golden State to win championships.
Oh, you're saying it helps it?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it in a way that it made it worse.
No, absolutely not.
No. I think you're right.
My goodness, that would be wild. I can't. Oh, the takes would just be phenomenal.
If he got traded, I think it's those 3 of Cleveland, Golden State, or New York with a
I think
dark
Miami's
horse.
in there too.
Well, no, I don't think Miami's in there as much as this team. I think there's a dark horse in Dallas.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would work too.
That's another one.
I don't know what that team's operation is like now with Cuban having sold.
I think he still controls operations, doesn't he?
I wouldn't put it past Houston or Philly either.
Nah, I don't see.
I thought about Philly, but with Embiid going down, I don't think it happens.
Also, Houston.
But they could just keep him out until like April and then just ball out.
Do you really think LeBron's going to go play for Udoka when they were already cussing each other out middle of the game?
I don't think it matters.
Also, Houston is too bad. Like, I don't think they would. That'd be a waste for Houston. They're not good enough.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope it happens.
Yeah, me too. Oh, me too.
Tyler, back to your Knicks take. Here's what I'm thinking, though. So I'm looking at it right now. The Knicks are plus 2150 to win the title. Only plus 845 to win the East. But I don't think they can win the title.
I was thinking that, too. I was like, it might just be a ticket you get there, and it's like, we're not going to beat the team on the other side.
But I almost think, though, that the plus 845 is better because you're hedged. Like, let's assume they make it, and it's Knicks Nuggets, which is what I would assume if they made it.
Yeah.
Nuggets are going to be like minus 300, so I think it's going to be hard to hedge that plus 2150.
It's last year all over again. It's like, we got these Miami tickets at great prices, but they're never going to win.
You can't even hedge because what was Denver last year was like, minus 325 at the start of the series? Yep. Yeah.
I don't know why. I've never been
I'll join you on Knicks plus 845, though. Is that a good number, you think? That.
Let me see what I got it on FanDuel. Let's see.
650 for championship or conference?
Just
Eastern
conference. Yeah, we got worse numbers than him.
Yeah.
Did you check DK already? You want to check there?
No, I was looking at FanDuel.
Check DK, but if not, I'm placing this 845 right now if I'm getting $2 compared to your price. Especially because I'm usually always getting the worst price.
I don't know what it is. I hate championship futures. I just pretty much stick to conferences.
So here's
10
certain
10 to
things. So
1
like,
on.
for example, I'm looking at my finals matchup, and right now in my head, I'm putting Denver in there. So,
10 to
for
1 on
example,
DKJC.
Oh,
oh yeah,
snap.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Now
that's
I'm used
crazy.
to you guys having a better number. I just put 200 on it right now. 200 to win 1,700. With Philadelphia, I love the way they match up with Denver. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I took Philadelphia to win the title. I think the Clippers can beat anyone out of the East, and if we're assuming it's Boston, I love that matchup for the Clippers.
Sure.
Because we get the
Clippers
rest,
are one of
and
the
we got the veteran forwards versus the younger forwards. Yeah, so I think you think about matchups when you're trying to decide, but I think you make a good
I just
point,
think it's
JC.
greedy. Like that's my biggest thing is like if we're getting 850, why is that not good enough? And I feel like that's so
But-
much easier to predict than champion.
My point is, if I can feel like I'm going to be pretty close to minus 110, I'd rather get the extra money, and then I can choose my hedge when it actually happens.
Yeah.
For
sure.
example, if it's Philadelphia and Denver, I'm thinking Denver's going to be like minus 150. Wouldn't you? Just because of the way they match up? I mean,
Yeah.
Philadelphia always beats them.
No,
If it's Clippers, Boston, I think it's going to be pretty close to even. I'd say
Clippers
Boston
are
minus
finals.
150.
Clippers, Boston will be a slight favorite.
Why do you think Clippers can't make the finals, JC?
I don't know because I'm a scarred Clippers fan. I don't think it can ever happen.
And I'm just a dumb stat nerd, and I have no emotion in it, and I'm just sorting by since like they got that thing figured out with
No, for
Harden,
sure.
and they're basically Boston.
Yeah, no, on paper, absolutely. From what we've seen, absolutely. But playoffs are going to roll around. Paul George, Kawhi are going to get injured, and then it just
Bro, if they don't get injured, it's a great bet. So I basically got 13 to 1
Clippers
that
have
they're
been
not
a
going
great
to get
bet for
hurt.
years if no one gets injured.
I don't think so. I don't think they were ever a good bet with CP3 and Blake.
No, but since the Kawhi, Paul George, they've been a great bet, but they always get injured.
But this year is so
I
much
think
better with Harden. I think
the
Harden's
one
going to be
year-
one of the most underrated players in the league.
Don't you guys think the one year the Clippers had a legit shot to win it was just the bubble? Like, I don't think there was ever another
Yeah,
year
but
where I
then-
was
no,
remember
the
Paul
21,
George?
when they were playing the Suns in the.
No, they should have won in the bubble. Paul George said he couldn't handle not getting laid.
yeah, and when they played
that quote.
when they
Yeah, he
played that
said they were
Suns
sitting
team-
there and they're like stuck in a room quarantined, and they're like, you know how those guys are. They're getting like, and I think he might have been married, so it could have been from his wife and not just random Instagram girls. But I mean, they're getting these messages all the time, and they're not used to going that long, right? Like a guy that looks like me, I can handle a drought, right? These PG, he's not used to that.
What about the following year when they lost to Phoenix in the Western Conference Finals?
Their team was
weren't
pretty
healthy, were
bad.
they?
Like, not pretty bad. They were pretty badly injured at that point when they got to
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's a team that going to the playoffs had a legitimate shot.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they had great depth that year. I'm trying to go back. That was the year after.
The bubble.
That
21.
Kawhi got hurt in game 2, didn't he?
Of the Eastern Conference Final or of the first
Of the
round?
Western Conference filed.
Right,
He
but
didn't
that's
play
my
this-
point.
Did he play the Sun series? I swear he got
No,
hurt.
semifinals. I think he played
Okay, yeah.
game 1 or game 2.
And then he got re-injured. He was
Yeah.
kind of like he missed most of the playoffs. He played. We're like, oh shit, it's on. And then he
Yeah.
got, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, let's see.
Any
All right,
love
anything-
for the Cavs? Any love for the
No.
Cavs at 45 to 1? I mean,
No, I don't trust Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, bro.
The only reason, plus I'm thinking 13-1 on FanDuel to win the East. The
I got
only reason
16
that-
to 1 to win the East on the
to
Cavs.
I put a small amount on that, just hoping LeBron gets traded there.
it's
That's
kind of
fair.
yeah, it's kind of like a head
But
bat.
this current iteration isn't doing it.
Yeah.
Which guard would you rather keep there with him if he shows up, Mitchell or Garland?
Oh, Mitch. I think Mitchell LeBron would be a great combo.
I think
I'd
Garland
rather
would be
have-
better.
I think I'd rather have Garland with him because I feel
'Cause he's
like
a better
I feel
passer.
like he can not as much as like he did with Kyrie, where it's like, all right, you're just gonna kind of do your thing, and like whenever I want to spell and just give you the ball, you take over the game. I think he can use Garland as like a chess piece very
Plus,
well.
Mitchell's
like,
going to leave anyways, and he wants to go to New York,
Yeah.
but nobody wants to leave LA, so they
I
can
can
easily
see-
just sell him, hey, we'll send you to the Lakers, and you just do Mitchell for LeBron, a pick here and there. I don't even know how that would work. I think, I
I
mean,
could definitely see Mitchell style clashing with LeBron a little bit, with LeBron wanting to have the ball.
don't
the
you
whole
think
time,
Mitchell and AD would be a lethal combo, though?
Yeah, that would be a nice one. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
both teams would win out there. It's like, all right, like I think this is a good deal.
Now
for
that you
both
think
teams.
about it, that makes the most sense. Mitchell for LeBron, and just work it out. but you got the big salaries. The Lakers would be. I would. Okay, I'm a Kings fan. Who would you be more scared of? I almost think I'm more scared of Mitchell and the rest of that squad than LeBron and the rest of that squad.
Maybe like it's pretty close. Like I don't think it's like obviously it changes, but I don't think it's a drastic change for either.
That's
team.
one of the few. I don't really like Donovan Mitchell overall. I think that's one of the few places where it works. Because the rest of that team can defend, and you can just let him go Cam Thomas style and get buckets, and not worry that he sucks on defense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, this is fun, JC. Any more general basketball thoughts, right? Because Tyler and I talk every day, so we don't really jump into this.
No, for sure. Like I said, I haven't watched too much basketball so far this season, so I don't really have any like deep takes or any hot takes. It's just like, yeah. I mean, the Eastern just feels so like it feels like it's Celtics or Bucks, and then the Western I think it's more wide open.
Bucks are done. Bucks, and when they trade a Holiday and then they fire Budenholzer, I think their window's closed.
It wouldn't surprise me if they
yeah.
If they roared back, it wouldn't really surprise me.
Right. Like, as long as you got Giannis, I feel like you got a chance. Especially given how weak the East.
They just can't get stops. Like, when we bet the Nuggets against them the other night, it was just like, they're not going to get a stop. I wasn't, like, we're only up by 4, and I knew we were going to cover.
I also feel like here in a week or two, once we get closer to this deadline, someone's going to get moved. And it's going to be a major piece where you see it, and it's like, oh, that's going to mean a lot in the end. Like, imagine marketing ends up in, like, Philly. It's like, oh, that has now become a problem. Philly goes from being a contender to one of the top contenders if marketing lands on that squad.
I hate his fit there.
I think that's a nice
What about
you know where I like him? OKC.
That's another one, too. I think OKC, they just need a lot more size down low. Like, I'm not sure
I like him there.
They're also young.
There a lot.
But it works because he can get down low if you need him. So you get the best of both worlds.
Unless you can think you can retain him, I think that's a silly move for OKC because you're young. You're not going to go that far in the playoffs, given your competition. Like they're obviously.
You might. I mean, other than Denver, I think it's wide open this year.
Right. Yeah, it is. But I don't think they're not going to be in the conference finals.
Oh, they got a great shot.
No, not with Phoenix, LA, Minnesota, Denver.
The only team I like better than OKC is the Clippers and Denver. I got to put them number 3 right now in my little Western Conference power rankings.
I'm still worried some of their guys crumble under the playoff basketball pressure because a lot of those guys haven't.
Yeah, but we're going to have those same concerns for every single team. We got that for Minnesota.
Not really. They played in the playoffs last year, and I would say they gave Denver the best fight.
Yeah, but.
What if it's,
you know what? That's a good point, Tyler. That's a great point.
That's the thing no one talks about is like if you go back and look
they're actually the closest. The Lakers series, although I always say the Lakers series was the closest sweep I've ever seen. As far as being a sweep.
I get what you're saying there. It was definitely the closest sweep, but in the end, like once they got to that matchup, outside of like our guys like Johnny Nelson who are like the Lakers lifers. I think everyone looked at it and was like, I think this is where the Lakers train ends. Like, Denver's going to finish them. And then just looking back on that run, the Timberwolves were the team that gave them the most problems. Imagine they move Cat and they get that fit of that team a little bit better and they start to click more. They become a huge problem.
That's a good point.
If OKC plays Phoenix in the first round, who are you taking?
I'd take Phoenix.
Yeah, like I don't want that's what I mean by the experience. I'm not.
Are we assuming that OKC's got home court? Because I'm assuming they finished with a better record.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take OKC. Phoenix has no depth. They're going to get crushed in every single bench minute.
You don't need depth in the playoffs.
You don't need depth in the playoffs. And if just for instance, like we know SGA will probably play good in the playoffs. Let's say Chet looks like a deer in the headlights. Jalen Williams is on and off. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are going to destroy.
Bro, Kevin Durant, you could see his age, dude. He's fading every fourth quarter right now. That's why I think the depth.
No, this team falls behind, turns it on in the fourth quarter and wins. And in the playoffs,
in the last 8 games, but all year that's not been happening.
In the playoffs,
this is one of the worst second half teams in the NBA, and it's because they get tired because they only have 3 good players on their team, and the rest of their guys won't even make like the Orlando Magic rotation.
All right. Well, I'll gladly take your money if you want it, if we get that matchup.
I would have to take
I hope
Philly
we
in that
do.
series.
And I'm going to have home
swear,
court, too.
You know what that is?
What?
That's legit. That's legit last year's Golden State Sacramento series. Where it's like you got the older team with the with the
No, because
superstar.
Golden State had proved it together. These guys haven't proved it together yet.
I mean, somewhat.
They
I
have a
get it.
championship, but they're still.
Yeah, these are established guys. These are two of the best 8 guys in the league on a team together.
All right, we'll find out. I think Bradley Beal's so toast. So
That's a great comparison, though, Tyler. The Sacramento Golden State, because it is like,
I think it goes just like that.
Except for the Thunder can defend so much better than we can. Like they're like a two-way team. They have so many versatile defenders. Like look at us, we're just run up and down the floor. We're like the Phoenix Suns of 2006.
All right.
Mike D'Antoni.
Who's your guy?
What did they do? What did that team do? Oh, you're talking about Sacramento. Never mind.
I said, who's your
I'm
guy?
talking about the
Sean
7
Marion
seconds
with
or
the
less. The
jump
first
shot?
one.
Yeah.
Should
we talk about today's games?
Yeah, I think we should because we're treating this like a 2-game slate.
It's a big one.
This is what we used to do on the Thursdays when they would only be 2-game slates, JC.
Yeah.
Just talk, doing basketball podcasts for the first half hour and then break down the 2 games. But we got more than that tonight, and we'll dive in. But hey, guys, don't be afraid to take some of these detours here because I think this makes it a lot of fun. The Miami Heat are -7.5. They're in Washington. They're taking on the Wizards. The total here is 228. Tyler, I'm going to throw it to you, and that way I can look up all my stuff. But that's how we'll do it today. I'll start with you, Tyler. How are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I don't think I want to lay 8 with Miami. They looked terrible up until this last game against the Kings where they were able to pull out the 9-point win where they lose 7 straight. They now lay 8 against this Washington team who hasn't been good, but they can keep games close. They've screwed us a couple times. I think I might want to hold my nose here, spread, and just take the +8, but I can't bet the Heat here. And with a huge slate like this, it might just be a game I completely stay away from.
Yeah, I think if we get involved, we'll take the over here. I have this projected at a 230 on a 228, so I guess that's not that big an edge. I thought it'd be a little higher. If I were to play it, I do like the over. The game's gone over 6 of the last 7 times these two teams have played. And I'll look up some more stuff while I throw it to you, JC.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough one, right? Because laying 8 with Miami is just disgusting after the last 10 games that they've played. Worth mentioning, we got our boy Scott Foster on the call. Home teams dominated the spread when he's officiating. But you kind of look at this one and go, I don't know. I mean, given Washington's play, I mean, they just lost to – they lost by 16 to the Clippers, kind of barely beat San Antonio and Detroit. So, I mean, they're losing and they're not keeping the games close. So it's certainly a spot Miami could finally get a big win. But I would definitely have a heavy lean towards Washington +8. But like Tyler said, I don't really know if I get there.
Yeah,
Spread,
it's crazy.
Doesn't this feel like the spots last year where, remember, it's like, all right, Miami usually doesn't win games by margin, and we only bet them when they're -2 to about 5.
Yeah, -5 was our cutoff.
Anything above is dog or pass.
Yeah.
But
here, I'm going to let you know why we're not playing the dog here. Washington was much better against the spread on the road because they're 22-23 overall. But they're only 7-15 on the road, right? Which, when I do the math, that means that they're 15-8 on the road against the spread. So they haven't been playing well at home. As a home underdog, they're 7-12 this year. Miami 3-4-2 as a road favorite. I say we stay away from this game altogether unless you have props, Tyler.
No, I'm fine with just staying away. I mean, I'd play maybe like a Bam double-double and win. I could see Hero catching fire against his backcourt. So maybe some of his performance doubles, like what's he got? He's got a 20+ points and they win at +125. Jimmy played hard in that Kings game and he scored 31 points, but I don't think I'm going to bet on him here just because we know how regular season Jimmy is. Maybe he shuts up the mouths that he heard talking about all Miami's not playing well. He might get traded with a nice game and a win, and then he goes back into sleep mode. So I wouldn't touch any of his, just Hero. Maybe even a Rozier. Rozier 3+3s and Miami wins +280. we know the guards for Washington can't guard anybody. I mean, I think if me and JC went out there, we can get like 25 and 10 combined.
All right. This is the Nuke the House sports betting channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us the thumbs up. The Los Angeles Clippers are minus 12.5. They're in Detroit. They're taking on the Pistons. The total is 238.5. Tyler, here's a spot where I think that the home dog is a little more attractive. Clippers have been playing really well, but this is going to be a game that's going to be hard for them to get up for and win by margin. This is all-star snub game, right? Because all the people that got snubbed are supposed to go off. So, of course, James Harden didn't make it. That's something to look for when you're doing these player props. The Clippers have won their last 5 games against Detroit. The total's gone under in the Clippers' last 5 road games. So while Detroit hasn't been winning, they have been covering. They're 6-1. 8-1 against the spread overall. 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 at home. They are catching 12.5 here, Tyler, and I have this only projected as a 9-point Clippers win. Do we want to get fancy and take the home dog here? I don't think we take the Clippers.
I think it's Clippers or pass for me. I get the idea of the dog here, but my worry is like we say it, maybe they don't want to get up for this game. Well, they just played Washington, beat them 125 to 109. On this same road trip, they played Toronto. They beat them by 20. Mm-hmm. So it's like even the bad teams when they play them, I think it's just the depth on this team, the talent. They just overwhelm teams, and the score just balloons from there, regardless of the guys on the floor. And you got the all-star snub, like you said, with James Harden against a team that's going to give up a ton of assists. He's going to dish the rock all over the place. These guys are going to hit a ton of shots. I could see this being a big blowout, but I don't think I could lay 12. James Harden double-double and win is plus 130. Love that. And James Harden 5+ rebounds and they win is minus 105. I think both are winners.
I think that's the way to go. Maybe a Harden player prop, Harden performance double. JC,
I was thinking, what's a sprinkle on what is his triple double? His triple double's 15 to 1.
Plus,
I don't think a sprinkle on his triple double.
No way, 15 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to play that. JC, what do you think of this game? I was thinking I was going to bet the Pistons. I think Tyler did a pretty good job of talking me off. I'm off this game from a side perspective right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree because both these teams covered. The last 7 games, I think Clippers have won outright. They've also covered, and then Detroit has. They're Detroit, but they've still covered 8 of their last 9 games. So a number that large, way too many factors. Like you said, coming off that game against Washington, you could just run the second team out there all game and still win. So I don't want to really get involved either way because whether it is, like I said, a big Harden game or a second team game. In a situation like this, 12 is just way too many points. Either way.
Yeah, I want to go for Detroit, but Tyler talked me out of it. The Phoenix Suns are in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. The Hawks are catching 3.5 at home. The total is 249.5. Atlanta 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 at home against Phoenix. So they've been beating Phoenix when they've been traveling there. However, this is probably the worst iteration of the Hawks team that we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years, which doesn't make sense to me because I feel like the roster's better.
For sure, because you figure they're there once a year, so that's once for the last 5 years. The Hawks have been a playoff team every single one of those years.
Phoenix
and they made a conference finals in those same 5 years. They've been a top team.
Yeah. All right, so Atlanta has actually won 2 games in a row, although they did fail to cover against the Raptors. They actually covered a game against the Lakers the other night. Sure, Jonathan Nelson wasn't happy about that. Phoenix is coming off 2 straight wins and 2 straight covers. They are, however, on this will be the 6th game on a road trip that started on January 24th. So maybe a little fatigue there. I would be looking towards Atlanta here. I have this as a 1-point Phoenix win, 2-point Phoenix win. So slight lean to the Hawks here. However, we've talked about it all season, Tyler. Hawks are 12-35 against the spread. They're 5-18 against the spread at home. I didn't want to get involved here. What do you think?
I'm opposite of you here, spread. It's too many points than I want. I know I said that a little weird, but I would want this game at like 5 if I'm going to bet the Hawks. I think 3 is too
that
low.
makes sense.
I feel like at 3, I know you're not exactly picking a winner, but it feels like you're close enough to it because you got to get the fouls. Phoenix is going to have the talent advantage, of course. Looking at the injury report in this one, DeAndre Hunter still questionable. Grayson Allen in, Bradley Beal in. All the other guys really don't matter on this injury report because nobody's even going to dress out of those guys. So I got to lean Phoenix. The Hawks have been so bad. And I know it's an extended road trip for Phoenix, but they have a Washington game next on February 4th. That's where they lay their gimme game down. And the next game after that, they play Milwaukee at home in their first game back. So I think we fade them in that Washington matchup when they're laying, say, 10 to 11 points. And it's Phoenix or pass for me here. What do you think about that, JC?
Yeah, I'm on Phoenix too. This is probably gonna, hurt me. So on what day was that? On Wednesday, the Suns were a 3-point favorite against Brooklyn, and I thought that number is so weird that makes no sense. I got it for Brooklyn. It just seemed completely backwards, and normally when that happens, like it's too easy. So I said, screw it, I'll take Brooklyn +3. They blew the doors off Brooklyn, kind of as one would think. And so that's the same thing I'm seeing here. Again, it's weird that Phoenix is only favored by 3.5 points. So I'm going to learn my lesson and go with Phoenix this time around. Granted, it'll probably, bite in the ass, but I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. So I'll take Phoenix and later points.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with Phoenix. We slandered them so much. They went on that huge losing streak. Now they're on a winning streak. Then they kind of fell off, so I'm kind of struggling with this team. But good points made by everyone. 249.5 seems a little high, but no, I'm not taking the under here.
Just a couple trends to point towards Phoenix too. Atlanta's a 1-5 as a home underdog this year, and they are
every
also
trend is going to point against the Hawks. They suck so bad.
Yeah, and they also after a win 7-12 ATS. So
that's a good one.
It's Phoenix or pass for me. Can we talk about Grayson Allen being the only 50, 40, 90 player in the NBA right now?
That's pretty sweet, huh? And it's not like
That's
his
wild
usage is low. He's like shooting 6 or 7 threes a game.
I wanted to send you a clip from how we said yesterday, Spray, we were talking about the basketball podcast, and I said Paul George's is the one that's like, if I'm going to pick one of the players to listen to.
I saw that one, and he chose Cam Thomas, and that's where I'm like.
Well, no, he talked about all the underrated guys.
Yeah, but
he talked Cam Thomas. Really? He talked. Who's the other couple guys he talked?
Everyone else made sense. Cam Thomas was the one that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Paul George has a podcast?
Yeah, Podcast P.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know why you would listen to a Paul George podcast when there's a Pat Bet podcast. So.
The Paul George one is actually really good.
So is the Pat Bet one.
I like the Pat Beverly one for entertainment. Like, if I want basketball talk, I'm going to Paul George. It's like Draymond's. I'm not listening to that for anything.
Oh, this is tight. You're tripping.
I would listen to a full episode. I like the clips that I get on social media, but I would not waste my time with a full episode of Draymond Green's. I get the highlights.
Well, you guys are going to be mad because he's going to be on TNT pretty soon.
Tyler,
that's
perfect. That's what I'm saying. I don't want like an hour long Draymond. I want the little bites, and that's what I would get on TNT.
Well, that's what you'll be getting, yeah.
Lovely.
The Sacramento Kings are -4, Tyler, in Indiana, taking on the Pacers. All right. So, we lost on the Kings 2 nights ago, and I was so pissed at De'Aaron Fox.
Told you.
Yeah, okay. Bro, so he was shooting bad from the floor. Okay, that's fine. People have bad shooting nights, but I felt like it let it affect his defense. And his defensive effort matched like his shooting. It's like when you're a really great player, when your shot's not falling, you do other things to help your team win. And I feel like he still doesn't have that awareness even this far along in his career. I'm not high on the Kings at all, but here's why I can't take the Pacers. This Halliburton minutes restriction is just weird. Like, why are they only playing him at the beginning? So if I knew they were going to do that, I would probably take the Kings because he like runs out of minutes by the middle of the third quarter. But if they actually space it right, I think the Pacers have a great chance to cover here. So I'm not getting involved because I have no idea what's going on with Halliburton's minutes. Total's 248. once again, without knowing Halliburton's minutes, that seems bad. If he was out, the game's way too high. If he plays half the game, this is probably about right. But if they up his minutes because he's going against his former team, or he's ruled out, then
He's not playing tonight.
So. He's not.
That's my prediction. He's not playing tonight. They played in New York
he
last
will.
night.
He can only miss 4 more games, and that's why they're putting him on 24.
Or this is one of the. I think this could be one of the spots. Does he have props up right now?
I don't know, but I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to play 20-something minutes.
I think he could easily do what we seen Mikal Bridges do at times to keep his
No, because you have to play at least 20 minutes to qualify.
Okay, so they did that then?
You can't. Then Mikal Bridges was just a starting streak.
No,
Okay,
Halliburton pops up.
Maybe he does play his 20 minutes, but I don't think he's very effective.
I think he will, and he looked pretty good against the Knicks. I think we would have lost that bet if he would have played the whole game.
I mean, that's going to be the same thing here. It's going to look like the Kings are a bad bet up until the third quarter. He's going to go sit down because he can't play anymore.
But what if they space the minutes out right? What if they go, hey, maybe we should actually save him for the fourth quarter?
I don't think that's what their full intentions right now are trying to win games exactly as it is figuring out the rotations while trying to keep him on a leash.
Yeah, I think if you're 27 or 21, you should.
I think they're trying to do like 4 or 5 things at once right now, and I just think they have a lot going on in that front office.
5 timelines.
You're trying to balance out the trade of Siakam and figure out what's going to work there. Your best player is fighting to stay on the All-NBA team. You want him there because you don't want him disgruntled. You want to make sure he gets paid and he stays in Indiana because it's going to be hard to get started.
If you're the Pacers, it's better for your team if he doesn't make it.
Yeah, but you don't want to be labeled as the team. Yeah, you don't want to be labeled.
I know, but I'm just saying, like.
So I think there's a lot of stuff going on up there. I just want to fade this team. I still don't think the market's reacted good enough to how bad this team's been since the trade and Halliburton's injury. So it's Kings who pass for me.
I don't know. They look pretty good against New York, and we just bet New York to win the East.
They look decent, and then it's the same thing. It's the minutes restriction. They're going to look good for 2 quarters, and then all of a sudden, they fall apart.
JC, what do you think?
No, I think Sacramento's fine bet here. I mean, because that game against Miami, like Sacramento was the smart bet. Sacramento was on a heater, and Miami had lost a bunch of games in a row. So, I mean, you can't bet on the streak to end. Like, you can't just make that bet. But a competent Heat team just finally showed up, and Sacramento lost. Now they hit Indiana, a team that's terrible. They had a couple wins in a row, which are
not terrible. They're 27 and 22.
All right,
sure. Washington's terrible.
Sure, fair enough. They're not very good, though. They've lost a bunch of games in a row, but that little win streak, I think, is affecting this number, as well as the fact that they recently won in Sacramento, I think, is affecting this number. So I think those 2 gifts give you 4 points you should absolutely like instead of it being like 7.
Okay. Yeah, I think – I don't know. I don't want to bet the Kings here. I don't see how you bet.
Ooh, down to 3.5.
I got 4 still, but yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm not surprised Pacers are taking money.
Yeah.
The next game, Tyler, I took Memphis last night, but it was too late to put it on the sheet because I did it like 10 minutes before tip or something. And I was lucky to win. I felt like the number and the expectations were about right for the game. Now they host Golden State. If it wasn't for the back-to-back, I would love the Grizzlies here. Also, the Warriors are kind of in that Miami situation, although they did just get a win against Philadelphia in their most recent timeout. But it feels like this team still needs to go all out here. Regardless, I kind of like the +8. What do you think?
I got a weird angle on this game that I think we could see a Memphis blowout. Adams was just moved from this team. We know how much of a good locker room guy he is. Was he on the bench for them this year, or has he been at home most of these games?
No, he's been on the bench. The games I've been to, I've seen him on the bench.
I bet you see a drastic change in this team after one of their biggest locker room guys, and I know he's a team favorite guy, gets moved for pennies on the dollar for a guy who's not going to play. So I could see this being like we thought the unraveling of Memphis was going to be, oh, all their star players are rolled out and everything else. Maybe the vet in the locker room that's kept a lot of the stuff glued together, getting moved, finally unravels things. They're on a back-to-back. Didn't they play on the road last night too? No, they were at home.
Yeah, against
okay,
Cleveland.
So they're playing a home and home. But I mean, I could see Golden State. Their backs are against the wall. They got to win every game. So I think they win the game. Maybe 8's too many. But like a Kuminga 20+ and win plus 130.
That's
Clay 5+ threes and they win plus 230. Steph 30+ and they win plus 150. Like there's a couple different ways I'd bet this game, but I don't think I could take Memphis.
I like Memphis. I don't think it's going to matter as far as Steven Adams getting traded because all these guys on Memphis are actually playing for their spots in the league.
That is a good point too. Yeah,
I mean they're trying their asses off, and there's no reason to think that they're going to quit. All these guys all they're doing is really, as long as they continue to cover spreads, they're basically just auditioning for other NBA teams or spots in the rotation for this team next year. So I like the Grizzlies +8 here, but Tyler thinks the safer way is to approach it through performance doubles on the Warriors side. What do you think, JC?
I actually do like Memphis here. It's just so funny, the conversation here. Like, in Memphis, it's just so like, oh, you see who Memphis signed to a 10-day contract now? Like, it's pitiful, this team, and you know, what they're going through. You guys got to do
Tony Snell the favor and get his 10-day contract in there.
I know. I saw that. I'm like, why wouldn't they? Like, they got nothing to lose. And you're absolutely right. Like, probably more than half this team has no business being on an NBA roster. The other point I was going to bring up is Memphis has played a lot of like back-to-back and a lot of games on short rest so far this season. So that doesn't worry me, especially with them still being at home. And Memphis has covered their last 6 games in a row. So 8.5 here against a Golden State team that has just been playing so poorly of late. I love it. I'll absolutely take the 8.5.
In the second game of a back-to-back, Memphis is 4-4 this year.
What are they to spread?
Against the spread.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be a little bit better. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was too, but probably just because we always bet against them, so we think it should be 0-8.
Yeah, and there's also just the fact, like what I'm saying too, is they've also played 4 games over 6 days, stuff like that too. That probably is inflating that number.
Let's see what it is here. So Memphis has played. They played last night. Before that, they played 3 days ago in SAC. That was a back-to-back. Indiana SAC.
Yeah. From Indiana at home too, so I travel, and then.
Yeah, overall, it's not that bad though.
No.
Yeah, I like the +8. We'll talk about that later, Tyler, and see if we get official. Now we're going to move to a game, and our guy Razor Sharp Picks is in the chat, and this is his play. He likes Toronto plus the points. Toronto Raptors are +4.5. They're in Houston. They're taking on the Rockets, who after got off to that hot start, has really actually been what people expected, but not been as good as we hoped to start the season. And, as a big Rockets truther, this was rough for me. The Rockets have lost 3 of their last 5, although they are 3-2 against the spread over that same span. Looking at the trends on this game here, total's gone under in 7 of Toronto's last 8 games, but it's gone over 6 of Toronto's last 7 trips to Houston, but that's 7 years there. It's gone over 5 of their last 6 games playing against the Toronto, so that's a 3-year trend there to the over. 233.5. Razor likes the points. My projections, where are they? I gotta do a better job of this here. I'll put projections over here. All right, my projections have this game at a 5-point Rockets win, so not a big edge either way. Tyler, start with you. What do you think?
I hate this game spread. Toronto games have not treated us well this year. We got so lucky the last time we bet this team. We bet an under, and they scored 18 points in the fourth quarter to save us.
And Chicago didn't have a field goal in the last 7 minutes.
Yeah, so this team just scares the hell out of me. I'm tired of burning money against or with them. Houston at home has played well. Jalen Green's played well. I don't hate some of his performance doubles, like 20-plus points, and they win at +130, 3+ threes, and they win at +175. But outside of that, I don't think I get involved in this game. I'm worried Toronto shows up or they don't, and I just don't like betting their games.
JC, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because, like Tyler said, Houston great at home, Toronto terrible, Houston great at home, Toronto terrible on the road. But I don't know, asking for a 5-point victory from the Rockets feels like a lot. I do kind of lean more towards the under. I think that's a much better play. Toronto, both teams kind of all over the place with their totals. So, I mean, it's going to be drastically over, drastically under, just because both teams kind of range scoring anywhere from like 100 to 130 points on any given night. So, I do like the under two, given some ref trends. A couple of guys on the call do call far more unders than overs, and just knowing, like I said, we can see a drastic one. I might even bump this number down and get a little bit better value because, like I said, we're either going to see like a 250-point game or it's going to be like a 210-point game. Maybe I bet them both.
Yeah, I think I agree with Razor here. I kind of like Toronto. A little worried about this injury report, though. As R.J. Barrett, Podol, and Quickly are all game-time decisions.
Doesn't it scream one of those game spread like where like we bet it and like halfway through the game you message me and you go, why did we do that?
Yeah, it's
lately,
too gross.
that's been more than half the games we've bet, Tyler.
Regardless
Even
of which
when we
side,
win, I'm still worried.
Regardless of which side we take in this game, I feel like we could get like halfway through the game and be like, why did we do that?
Yeah. Regarding your comments, I know you usually view Toronto as a bad road team, but this year, in fact, they're actually 13-11 on the road ATS. I'm not talking about straight up. So they're actually better on the road rather than at home, and I know that's different than how they usually play. So it's kind of like that Miami deal. Miami used to be a wagon at home. Now it feels like it's the opposite. Toronto's actually does a good job of keeping games close too. And games when they're catching between +2.5 and +5.5, they're 9-4, and they're 11-9 against the spread as a road underdog. Houston 7-5-1 as a home favorite and 16-9 overall at home. These are all against the spread numbers. So, plus if you go ahead and you talk about, if you sort by more recent, Houston was much better earlier in the year than they have been as of late. Their most recent game, they were laying 1.5, and they got pounded by the Pelicans, although that's a way different matchup when you consider New Orleans' size. Okay, I agree with Razor. I like Toronto. Maybe I can talk Tyler into it later. Speaking of the Pelicans, they're -8.5 in San Antonio taking on the Spurs. Spurs, another one. Haven't they been doing pretty well against the spread as of late? Let me see if I can pull this up.
They've been doing very well.
Yeah,
I think outside of that one game we tried to bet with them when they lost to Washington.
Yeah, and that's when we bet them as a favorite, though. But they were 4-0 as a favorite so far on the year against the spread. So we thought we were going to go back to that one. So San Antonio's 10-13 at home against the spread, and they're 7-12 as a home underdog. Pelicans are actually 13-10 on the road against the spread this year, but as a road favorite, they're only 4-5, so they're doing much better while they're catching points. I'll bet you the projections are going to tell me to take the points, but let me see where I have them at. I got too many windows. I need 3 screens, Tyler.
Oh, it's the best, man.
Let's win some bets today so I can buy 3 screens. Okay, well, I'll pull up my projections. Tyler, break down the game.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I want to lean Spurs, but I think this is a bad matchup for them. Like Zion and these guys, if they play, looking at the injury report, because you got Herb Jones on there, Larry Nance, Zion, all questionable. If all 3 of those guys play, I could see them just pounding this Spurs team in the paint. Outside of Victor, they don't have any size, and a guy like Zion's going to slam into Victor and back him up 2 feet before he goes up with the ball and get him into foul trouble. So I think it's a Pelicans or pass spot, but I really don't want to get involved on a -8. It just screams to me the Pelican spot where they just blow a team out. The last time they were here, they beat this team by 36. Mm-hmm. I think you could see similar results, but on a big card, I think I stay away.
Yeah, I think I kind of like the road favorite too. What do you think, JC?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just tough because New Orleans hasn't, we haven't seen enough from New Orleans recently to really think they could, pummel the San Antonio team. Granted, they are pretty bad. Again, if all those guys play, that certainly change things. Another stat to throw out: combine with these referees, The visiting team is 55-37 at the spread, so a strong edge there to New Orleans. But that's a lot of points to lay against, San Antonio is more respectable of late. So I agree with Tyler. If we knew all those guys were playing, I'd probably go ahead and lay the points. But without knowing that, I'm probably just staying away.
Yeah,
this is either Pelicans cruise to a 30-point win, or if you put their money line or a performance double in a parlay, that money line's fighting for its life in the fourth quarter.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I kind of like the Pelicans here. All right, Tyler. Before we went on, you said what's your favorite? What are you looking at today?
Why is it always this team? I knew it right when you said it. I was like, I already know which game we're on. Why is it always this team spread? Why do you always want to bet this team? I feel like just because Michael Jordan.
I hate them too. I don't like LaMelo Ball. I think he's so.
I feel like just because Michael Jordan has some kind of a tie to this team.
No, and he's actually like the worst. He's only good at basketball. Like he's not a good owner. Like supposedly he's not a good gambler.
Isn't this the matchup of like the team that actually built the right way with the right players versus the team that built with their eyes closed?
Yeah. But Tyler,
true.
I got Bryce McGowan's, Cody Martin, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, and Nick Richards taking the floor. And you don't think they can keep this game within 16 points?
We're talking. Let's just hit the rewind button to the start of the show, and let's talk about this OKC team again. The spread was like, how many teams in the Western Conference can actually beat this team in this series? Like this team's like one of the top 3 teams in the West. Now we're trying to bet the Hornets against them. 15's a lot, but I am not clicking that button.
Oh man, I knew I'm going to be on the island here. All right, so Charlotte's 15-29 against the spread this year. Another reason not to bet them. They're 8-15 on the road this year. However, Tyler, they're 3-1 when they're catching at least 14 points. That's crazy. They've already caught 14 points already 4 times this year. They're 8-15 as a road underdog. The Thunder are 13-6 as a home favorite, 20-12 as a favorite, 16-8 against the spread at home overall, and one of the best teams against the spread this year at 30-17. But I think this is all baked in, and I think the line's gone a little bit too far. JC, Tyler says don't lay it. I say buzz, buzz, buzz. It's Hornets time. What do you think?
Oh, so many points.
3-1 when they're catching 14 or more.
I know. However, they are 4th this season, 4th most double-digit losses. Granted, that's double digits, not 15.
Yeah, good point.
I know it's a different team, but the Hornets have also beat the Thunder straight up the last they played.
Oh man, this was good info too. Why that dog's loving you, Tyler? The dog's like, don't give out this killer info. The dog does not want us to bet on Charlotte, JC.
The dog's trying to save guys. He's trying to save guys money right now.
The dog should like the other dog.
Yeah, no, so yeah, Charlotte's won their last 5 meetings against OKC. Again, kind of different teams this season, understood, but still worth noting. It's so many points, and I know Charlotte's lost their last 5 in a row, both straight up and oh my god.
Of the last 4, the only one that they lost by more than 14 though was that 34-point loss to Houston.
I mean, it's too big of a number. You can't not. Like this isn't Detroit, right? Like Charlotte's in. They're not a good team. I'm not going to try and say it.
Yeah, they're
they
terrible.
Are a terrible team. But still, man. I mean, OKC. I mean, it is tough because in this league you do see like 20, 30-point losses because you want to say like, oh, OKC will kind of just put in the bench and then get a backdoor cover.
Yeah, what he was going to say is, but you know what, lately, these guys haven't been pulling their guys. I mean, you know how pissed I was when I had Charlotte plus 11.5 against Utah on Saturday, and Lauri Markkanen's in there, and they're up by 10 with 30 seconds to go.
You know those teams that they lost, that they were 3-1 against with a 14-point spread? Because that'd be important. Because OKC might be far better than those other teams.
Okay, so one of them was the Timberwolves, and they only lost by 3. Let me scroll through. The other one was the Kings, and one of them was Phoenix.
I'll do it. I'll take the points.
And
They covered that Phoenix one by a bucket.
Well, that's all it takes.
I'll take it.
I
15
can't
and a half.
find the last one where they lost. Where they were plus 14 and they lost. All right, well, am I going to be betting this one on my own, Tyler?
No. I'm on.
Oh,
You got
the one
JC.
they lost, they were plus 17 against Denver.
You and JC
Was that
can hold
Denver?
hands. You know, there's that like historical picture of like the guy standing in front of the tank as it's coming down the street. That
Tiananmen
tank is
Square?
OKC, and you and JC
You're
are
talking about
holding hands.
Tiananmen Square,
I
Tyler.
think he is.
Yeah.
Or have you seen that photo of the two guys on top of the turbine, the wind turbine that's on fire?
Yeah,
There's this famous photo where this wind turbine's on fire. These guys were like up top doing something, and they're just hugging because they know like they're gonna die because there's obviously no way for them to get down.
they said one guy jumped and the other guy stayed up there and just burned to death.
How do you die?
What was you
They got to
doing?
jump. Got to jump.
I think I jumped too.
I think
burning
staying
death is
on, you
fine.
kind of just keeping hope alive, where it's like you're accepting death and you gotta be willing to accept that by jumping. Whereas staying, like, I don't know, maybe I find a way out of this. Maybe someone comes and rescue me.
If I'm just gonna burn to death, I'm just gonna get in the ladder and just try and like do the whole like hold the edges and just slide down the bar. If I'm just gonna burn to death, I'm gonna try and get to the bottom. I'm not just gonna burn to the top.
Right. I'm not gonna just straight up leap off. Like let's give it a shot.
Yeah. I'm either doing a flip or I'm going down the hatch.
I mean, this took a morbid turn, but I hate to say it. When we're talking about betting on the Charlotte Hornets, it feels wholly topical and relevant. This is what we've come to in life, JC.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I like the Hornets. I don't know if Tyler's going to join me. The next game is the
Do we have any all-star stubs in OKC?
No,
Do
that's
we-
another thing I was thinking too. They got to be feeling good about themselves. They got recognized.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, we'll take Charlotte.
Yeah. All right. The Orlando Magic are +6. They're in Minnesota. They are taking on the Timberwolves. Tyler, I have this one projected at, well, wonderful, a 6-point win, but I have it 218 on a 213. So that's kind of nice here. I'm going to look up the rest of the stuff. Talk to me about what you're thinking about when these Minnesota Timberwolves host the Orlando Magic.
I want to look and see how Orlando's fared heading to Minnesota because I think this could be a nice matchup for them. I think 6 could be too many points. Rudy
So they're
Gobert.
on this is the third game of their road trip. They covered against San Antonio 2 nights ago, and 2 nights before that, they
Lost to Dallas outright.
but they covered.
Oh, here's the
Okay.
stat for you though. Orlando has won in their last 4 trips to Minnesota. Straight
There
up.
you
they've
go.
won.
I like them plus the points here. I think Gobert's going to sit with that ankle sprain. That's going to drop Minnesota down in size, and then we know they have an advantage there. Both these teams are defensive minded, so I think you get a lower scoring game. I think 6 is too many here. I think Orlando can win the game outright, but I'm fine with just taking the 6 points.
Interesting. What do you think, JC?
I don't know. It seems weird, but Tyler's normally right about these type of things when he likes a lone dog to win outright. I just remember, you remember last year when we were on Orlando and Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Orlando
remind
kept
me.
winning.
Yeah. Like
Oh, yeah,
Orlando was
yeah.
like a 10-point dog, or Tyler's like, I was like, I like him plus 10, and Tyler's like, let's take the money line. And he told us we were crazy, and then Orlando won. That's how this feels. So Tyler says bet Orlando as a 6.5-point dog. I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota obviously has a much better straight-up record, but when we look at against the spread numbers, Orlando's been better. They're 31-17 against the spread this year. Minnesota's only 24-21. Minnesota 12-9 at home. However, in the -5 to -8 range, Minnesota is 7-3-1 as a favorite. They're 10-9-1 overall as a home favorite. Orlando 13-9 as an underdog, and 4-4 when the spread's between 5 and 8.
Just
Orlando's
looking at
been excellent off
Minnesota's last 10 too, like they haven't really been able to blow anyone out outside of a few nice matchups. They played Dallas in their last matchup out. Dallas didn't play anyone.
Nobody played, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas was playing their G League guys. They won that one 121-87. Understandable.
They're no Memphis, that's for sure.
They played OKC the game before that. They won that game by 6. We cover here. They beat Brooklyn by 2. Their only other double-digit win in this span.
That OKC win was good, though.
Well, actually, they have 2 double-digit wins here in this span. It's Washington and Memphis. They beat Detroit by 7, and they beat the Clippers by 4. Orlando's got a good shot here, I think.
Yeah, I kind of like the way they match up, too. Like you said.
If Gobert's not on the floor, I think they have a very, very good chance to win the game.
All right, Tyler's liking that plus 208 money line. The Portland Trailblazers are plus 12.5. They're in Denver. They're taking on the Nuggets. Tyler, I've been loving writing this Portland Trailblazers team on this recent run, and my projections love them too. I have this game going over, but I only have the Nuggets winning by 7 points. We're catching 12.5. However, this is the Denver Nuggets at home, and I know that when you lose the last 5, let me pull these up. There's one game that Denver played that was just a stinker that completely messed up their numbers.
At New York, 84 to 122.
Yeah, they only scored 84, and so that just throws my last 5 stats off, and that's depressing it. If I throw that one out, I have this a lot closer to the number. And I think that's almost fair to do, don't you?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Was that New York game like a Sunday or something weird?
I believe so. Yeah, it was a Sunday.
No, it was a Thursday.
Sit.
Yeah.
Okay, who cares? That being said, I'm basically just talking a lot to say that, like, even though I've been loving Portland lately, I don't think I can get there on this game. But I'm not going to bet the Nuggets.
Yeah, that New York game.
Jokic played 27 minutes and put up 31.
What's up?
Jokic played 27 minutes, 31 points, 11 rebounds.
Huh.
Like no one else did anything. Like Aaron Gordon was next up with 12 points, and no one else had double digits.
You're talking this Knicks game that they just played?
The one they had 84.
Jamal Murray played 30 minutes, had 9 points.
That was also the game before they played Philly, so you know they had that game circled for the Embiid-Jokic matchup. That's where you get the underlying reason why they laid the stinker, I think.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
All right, so how do we approach this one?
If Jokic is on the floor, there's performance doubles that are staring me in the face. Jokic 10 plus assists and they win, plus 120. Jokic 35 and they win, plus 170. Jokic 15 rebounds and they win, plus 190. It's DeAndre Ayton he's matching up with. The dude couldn't even drive off his street when there was a little bit of ice. He don't stand a chance tonight. We've seen Jokic just absolutely maul this dude every time he matches up with him. There's no other guys that can help him on defense either there. I think Jokic just kind of puts up one of his nice stat lines, get out with a win. I'd rather bet through him than bet the actual spread in this game.
JC is someone who would not leave my house with an ice sheet in the driveway. I feel like I've been personally attacked, but how are you approaching this game?
A little bit. I mean, well, yeah, it's a little bit different when you live in Sacramento, but also Ayton was from Phoenix, or lived in Phoenix for a time, so it's understandable.
Yeah, and he's from the islands, isn't he?
Right.
He grew up on a freaking island.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, like if this was Portland at home plus 12, I'd consider it. But Portland's, I don't have so much information going back, but seeing their last 4 in Denver, they lost both straight up and at the spread. It's hard to win in Denver. Portland's not a very good team, so even if they're playing well, I don't want to mess with them playing at altitude. So certainly Denver a pass. Probably not going to take it, though, as it's a lot of points. And like I said, Portland's been playing well, but it's not taking the points in Portland. It would be a silly move.
They get a little home and home matchup against this team, too. They'll play today, and then they'll play on Sunday.
Maybe better luck there. Maybe they'll be used to altitude on Sunday.
All right, Tyler, we're going to go through each game, and we're going to see what we're going to put on for the official picks. Heat Wizards, I had it projected at 117 to 112. Tells me to take the Wizards. I don't want to do it. I'm fine staying away. What do you think?
I'm fine with just leaning the Wizards.
JC, are you going to bet this game?
No.
Clippers, Pistons. I was going to bet the Pistons here. I'm glad I talked to you. You kind of talked me off. I'm fine staying away from this game as well, too.
Yeah, fine staying away there.
Okay. Suns, Hawks. You guys both like Suns, but you know what? Just because Atlanta's so bad.
I'm fine with taking the Suns here.
I already bet Phoenix.
God.
I think we ride the Knicks spread. I think this is another team we just kind of ride for now.
I think the Knicks are playing so much better than Phoenix is right now.
I think they're playing better too, but
Yeah.
I also think that like you're
Phoenix
not
is
going to find a
four.
bunch of
They only
teams
win
that
by
are going
four.
to rip off a 17-2 stretch for you. So
Mhm.
I'll take what Phoenix is giving me too.
Yeah.
They're playing good basketball. Atlanta's not. It's basically pick the winner on a 3-point spread. Just got to hope you don't get a late 3 huck up that goes and doesn't mean anything to the game when they're up 6 and they hit that 3.
How long have they been on this road trip?
They play. Oh, yeah, that was another thing. You weren't at your computer when we broke that part down. They play another road game before going home to play Milwaukee. So I think we fade them when they play Washington in 2 days.
Yeah, that's fair. This is game 6 of 7.
Yeah.
They played 5 on the road.
They're gonna lay 12 points against Washington on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a great fake spot.
Why do you want to fade them when they're laying 3? No, you know what I'm saying?
I can't argue with you. I'm just Phoenix.
I know we slandered the team, but like sometimes we just got to throw that and like flip the page, start fresh spread.
All right. Kings and Pacers. I don't want to bet it.
Kings are pass for me.
I'm on Kings.
I said we stay off it. I don't like the Kings in this spot. Warriors, Grizzlies.
Are you, hang on real quick before I place that bet, are you normally on with your Kings takes, or are you just too much of a pessimist with your team?
Ask Tyler, not me. What do you think?
I feel like every time sometimes when we try to line up and bet the Kings, it's usually when they just dud. And the games we should bet.
But do you think that I have a good feel for the Kings, or do you think that it's like the Lakers where my love?
I think it's a little bit of the Lakers.
Yeah,
I
don't think I'm on with my Kings takes.
I think
I know you're often off when you're like, oh, if it's a can't miss bet for the Kings, that's when you're normally off. I know that, but when you're down, I don't know if you're more active.
You fall in love too much with certain spots, and spots you should bet them. You're still too scarred to bet them from previous years.
Yeah.
Like right here is one of those spots. Like if they played how they did for last year, like 4 years in a row, and they lay 4 right here, I think you bet them easily. But I think
if we knew that Halliburton's playing in the fourth quarter, we'd take the 4.
I wouldn't. I think I'd still take the Kings. It's a bonus homecoming game.
They're better than us.
I don't think you'd take the 4. You would just stay off of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, that's going to look too high. I don't want to play. But I think, if Halliburton was playing, it's still not bad play, even if Halliburton's playing.
Yeah, I just don't like the way the Kings are playing right now. Fox hasn't played good for like a month.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm still going to bet it, though.
All right. Memphis. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
That's
you
all
willing,
up to you. I'm not touching that game. That is all up to you.
Yeah, let's do it, spread. Let's do it.
All right. +8.
The next one's all up to you too. I don't want anything to do with that game.
I like the Raptors.
Go ahead. I'm not telling you yes or no. I am not involved. I am Switzerland right now.
I agree.
Fuck.
Ride with razor sharp picks.
All right. I'm taking the Raptors.
We can add razor sharp picks to our group chat at about halftime when spread's like, why the fuck did I do this?
It's your fault, razor sharp picks.
No, Razor's nice. We're not subjecting him to my in-game bitching.
We're messing with him.
He's
now we'll add him at halftime and he'll send the little rocking chair emoji because they'll be up like 25.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like I told my buddy who's a Lakers fan last night. Because he's been down on him lately. He's like, "Why'd you bet them?" I'm like, "I took them tonight." And he's like, "That was stupid." Before it tipped, right? And then at halftime, I was like, "Bro, they would have to lose the second half by 30 points for me to lose this bet because they're up by 14 and I'm getting plus 15.5." All right, the Pelicans minus 8.5. I kind of like that one, Tyler. What do you think?
I need to know if those guys are in the game or not. You got they're basically their whole front court's on the injury report outside of Joe Val.
Yeah.
All right. I'm taking the Hornets plus 15.5. Tyler, is it an official play or is it a personal play?
You do whatever you want with that game too, spread.
But can it be on the sheet or no?
I mean, it's up to you. This could be one of your deal with it plays if you want it up there, but
buzz.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it when SGA is stomping out buzzing bees everywhere.
JC, are you jumping in with me on the Hornets?
Yeah. So I got my 3 plays, and then because of you guys, I'm betting Charlotte plus 15.5 and Magic plus 6.5.
All right. Are we making Magic official, Tyler?
I think we should. I think that's a nice spot.
All right. Magic. And we're not going to play Blazers Nuggets, right?
No.
All right. So going over my sheet, I have New York Knicks to win the East. Of all the bets I placed
when you
today.
started that off with the Knicks, I was like, they don't even play today. I was like, how do we get here?
But it's a bet that I placed today. I'm letting the people know. Memphis Grizzlies plus 8. Toronto Raptors plus 4.5. Charlotte Hornets plus 15.5. Orlando Magic plus 6. JC, where's the barking dog when we need it? It would have been perfect for that little breakdown.
Yeah, I know. They're just chilling on the couch now.
It's a 4-dog Friday. All right. Well, there we have it.
All right.
Yeah, that didn't land like I was hoping it would. Tyler, final thoughts for the day.
Yeah, just lock in these bets and keep an eye on that sheet for the weekend because those plays still go up on Saturday and Sunday. We don't just stop. The videos might stop, but we'll still talk about the games, go over everything, and the picks will still be out there for everyone.
Yeah, sounds good. Especially now with no NFL, we'll have more time to spend on the NBA for the weekends. JC, final thoughts on the NBA?
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a terrible time of year. I don't know I was going to say that. I'm just excited to be involved, to really, kind of hone in on my NBA handicapping.
You don't like springtime? You don't like sunshine? You don't like sundresses?
I prefer summer.
Oh, I don't.
And it's because, you still get some cold days. And like I said, football's coming to an end. We don't have baseball yet. So I prefer that time of year, like March, like end of March when we're like, knee deep in the tournament. Baseball's like all the way back. You got playoff basketball, playoff hockey. You know what I was thinking about? So it's crazy how often I think about what you said about baseball and like small markets. I think about it a lot because like you're right. Like surface level, you are right. I'm thinking about why it is, and it's partly what makes baseball so much better. Because with football and basketball, one player turns around your franchise, right? You get a quarterback or an incredible player, your franchise is turned around. You're a winning team. You can then go get talent. You look at a team like the Angels, who had the 2 best players in like the history of the game, and they still suck. So it's an interesting yin and yang in that essence of the why it is the way that it is. And why it's hard to attract talent if you're in a small market that isn't winning.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, JC, is that your words of wisdom, or do you have something else for us?
No, yeah, I do. So there's a birthday today. It is the birthday of the greatest halftime Super Bowl performer ever. That is, of course, Shakira. In my words of wisdom, in honor of her birthday.
That's the greatest Super Bowl of all time.
Halftime performance.
It's better than Prince and Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, better than Paul McCartney, better than the Rolling Stones, better than Big Bad Voodoo Daddy 2. Walking.
Bro, Prince was playing Purple Rain in the rain.
Look, saying the third best for the sake of words of wisdom doesn't hit as hard. So
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
And she looked great. Walking gets too boring when you learn to fly. Thank you.